The question that's been on all of our minds, every now and again at least, is where is Mudryk? What's going on after being found guilty of failing the doping test after his B sample had been returned? None of us knew what was going to happen. Is he going to be banned for 4 years? He's obviously or reportedly hired the same lawyers that Pogba used when he had a 4-year doping ban that was reduced to 18 months after the Court of Arbitration of Sport had a closer look. So should he get the book thrown at him and get 4 years, he will look to have that. But there's been developments, let's say, from some Ukrainian media, and we're going to cite Team Talk today to learn a little bit more about that. Of course, in the wake of another transfer window, he's being talked about less. Last season, we were meant to be utilising both Jadon Sancho and Mykhailo Mudryk as the left-wing options, and now it's changed entirely. In fact, the Chelsea attack has evolved massively. We're utilising Alejandro Garnacho and Jamie Gittins as left-wingers, with obviously other players that can deputise on the left, such as Pedro Neto can play out of position really well there. Of course, being a left footer offers different attributes when being deployed in the system by old Enzo Maresca, the Chelsea gaffer. Indeed, although we don't like to see it, there have been a couple of instances where Cole Palmer actually performed really well as a sort of left winger, coming inside, occupying the left pocket. And of course, we've got Tyreek George still knocking about, the young teenage winger who can play on the left there. So, amongst all the different options, they forgot about Dre. And by Dre, I mean Mudryk. So yes, second video of the day on my return to content. Flowing all over the gaff, my content. So thank you as always for joining me, for supporting, for doing those lovely things like liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, and hype pointing. Hype pointing? Dropping hype points. We'll find a way to sort of describe that a little bit better. So yeah, man, Mudryk. Mudryk. Let's read this from James Holland of Team Talk. Learn a little bit more and then we can talk about it a bit, mate. Mykhailo Mudryk has failed a doping test due to a stem cell injection, with a Ukrainian journalist providing a new theory on the Chelsea winger. Just pause. Let's pump the brakes. Let's just... because a lot of people thought he's always claimed innocence. Chelsea have always supported his claim of innocence. There was speculation by some that because of Mudryk's character, him and his personal trainer were just so devoted to breaking records, getting to new speeds, getting him as fast as possible. And a lot of people speculated and assumed that that kind of behavior would lend itself to looking to every kind of way possible to optimize his performance. And then people came to their own assumption about innocence or not innocence. Not everyone, of course, but I've seen that speculated around certain parts of the fan base, and indeed just football media at large, mate. Do you know what I mean? Mudryk, let's just take you back down memory lane. Mudryk was heavily linked to Arsenal, big time, and I think he really wanted to go, by the way. But he ended up joining rivals Chelsea. We convinced him to come to us in January 2023. It was I still think it was a good PR win for the recently joined new ownership to get the Ukrainian superstar in the wake of the previous owner, Abramovich, being sanctioned for being a Russian oligarch. I do think it was there like, look, we've got, they presented him with a Ukrainian flag wrapped around him. But heck, let's not get geopolitical here now. Let's talk about the player. The footballer. Chelsea played Shakhtar Donetsk, an initial £62 million. So when you get all these football Twitter rival accounts going, the £100 million of Mudryk. So far it's £62 million. And by the way, that would be paid in installments. So, remember Enzo Fernandez was, we paid like 30 million quid up front for him. Do you know what I mean? Like when everyone's like, they've just dropped 100 million. We of course have committed that much. But with Mudryk, we've committed 62 and probably paid a couple of installments so far. And again, I don't. Is there a clause in transfers such as these that if they commit a crime, go to prison, get caught doping, we don't have to pay you? I don't know. I'm speculating. I'm guessing. We know the CEO from Shakhtar was like trying to get him cleared really quickly. People speculated that was because he wanted to get the add-ons, but maybe there's more details that we don't know. I wouldn't want to speculate. I'm just theorizing here. Yeah, that's all. So we ended up gazumping Arsenal. Arsenal fans will be quite happy about that because of how things turned out. By the way, he looked okay, but if he reached add-ons, it would be £89 million. £89 million. Like, if Steval meets all he's got a Ballon d'Or clause, Steval, and meets all the things, I think we pay like 65 million euros. What's that? 57 million pounds, not 89 million pounds. And Steval, as an 18-year-old, looks good to go, baby. Do you know what I mean? He looks like he's ready to cook already in the Prem. So it was a mistake buying Mudryk because of the financials involved, and who could have foreseen this? But is he guilty? If this we're out to learn if this can, it's a theory. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory. However, Mudryk failed so far to live up to expectations at Stamford Bridge. His record for Chelsea stands at 10 goals and 11 assists in 73 appearances across all competitions. 21 goal involvements in 73. That's better than 1 and 4. It's not quite as good as 1 and 3. Bearing in mind there was a lot of sub appearances. I reckon he has a goal involvement every 3 starts for Chelsea as a winger, which isn't insanely awful. I know, yes, there was Conference League, yada yada yada, but he was part of the most dysfunctional Chelsea era ever. I'm just so reluctant to judge productivity of certain teams and players when they played in that Graham Potter team that scored a goal a game. And Frank Lampard came in and was like, well, this is a circus. Like, no one wants to be here. No one's training well. Everyone's unfit. So it's so hard to look at these metrics, these stats, and truly judge players. Of course, guys, what's going on in his home country as well. You have to take into consideration. Maresca's predecessor, Pochettino, explained how Mudryk was far behind his teammates tactically. There were concerns the forward made a big money switch too early in his career, having played only 44 games. Only 44 times for Shakhtar before coming to the Premier. He'd only played 44 times. I think freaking Sancho played that many appearances for Chelsea last season. And he wasn't first choice. He was the starter all the time. That's insane to get an £89 million potential move after playing that in the Ukrainian league. It's worth reminding you, though, he was heavily and extensively scouted. Arsenal really wanted him. The big dogs at Shakhtar were saying there's two better left-sided attackers in world football at the moment. One's Mbappe, who at the time was PSG, and one's called Vinicius Jr., and he's the third best. And he's got a Ballon d'Or clause, yada yada. I mean, it's worth mentioning. I've said this before, over the months / years now, and I heard this from, I think it's Adam Crafton, I guess, one of the Athletic guys, that when the invasion of Ukraine happened, all the Brazilians were allowed to leave Shakhtar. There was they were allowed to rip up their contracts and leave. The Ukrainians stayed, like Mudryk, and the tactics at Shakhtar changed to defend, play the ball into the left channel in transition, and Mudryk's really fast holding the ball and will do that. And that was it, man. That was the vibes, that was the tactics, and no wonder he's so undercooked and developmentally, tactically, because that was the plan, bro, which is pretty mental. So he's really, really behind. Things went from bad for worse to worse, obviously, with Mudryk. Last December, he was provisionally banned by the FA after failing a doping test. The 24-year-old responded saying, he's come as a complete shock and I've done nothing wrong. He completely denied all wrongdoings. Mudryk was subsequently awaiting his B sample, but there's been little news since the initial suspension. They've come out and said he's been charged officially since then. Mudryk cannot train at Cobham, but Chelsea have provided him with a training plan to stay fit. I mean, So this is where the juice comes in. I just realised that that is the worst. That is the worst terminology I could have said. Or best, I literally meant that as in like the juicy part of the video. But in every sense of the word, this is where the juice comes in, guys. So, don't shoot the messenger. Ukrainian reporter Igor Burbas has now provided an update on the situation, and this is as cited in Scout in Eurasia. It's claimed that Mudryk was experiencing. So, by the way, he was. You know, the doping test was after he was with his Ukrainian national teammates. It wasn't with Chelsea. It was when he was with Ukraine national team. That's when, you know, he was tested and the doping came through. So, it's really important to sort of mention that as well. It was claimed that Mudryk was experiencing discomfort while training with the Ukrainian national team in 2024. Now, he received a stem cell injection to aid his recovery, with the aim being a promotion of tissue regeneration. Now, many of you know about stem cells, is how they like regrow organs and stuff like that. Don't they get it from like babies or something weird? Anyway, stem cells is like how you clone things or whatever. It's pretty like hardcore radical sciencey stuff that I don't understand, so let's not get into that too much. But yeah, the aim was to promote tissue regeneration. The stem cells, now this is where it gets very peculiar. The stem cells were allegedly derived from a cow. So not baby, fortunately. A cow, yeah. Moo. That may have been exposed to the meldonium. Now, meldonium is the banned substance that Mudryk has been banned for. That he's been charged for, meldonium. So, the cow was the middleman. The middle moo. It was the cow's fault, Your Honour. Not Mudryk. I'm desperately trying not to make terrible jokes because it's a very serious situation. So yes, Burbas, this geezer, said it was, this is the banned substance, of course, meldonium, later to be found in Mudryk sample that got him in trubs, yeah? The injection was administered by Igor Porobia, the Ukraine national team's physiotherapist. So not only is there a guy saying this is what happened, there was a guy citing, he did it. He did the cow he did the cow stem cell injection, that guy. I did it. I injected him with the cow juice. So there's names. There's not just like a fizzly theory here. There's names to this thing. This procedure is, quote, the only unusual event that happened with Mudryk over the past 18 months. Is this just like a cover-up? Or is this true? The Meldonian cow. Mykhailo Mudryk is fighting his corner, but the wait goes on. So yeah, the B sample still hasn't come back. So the charge is, so with the A sample, we waited a million years for the B sample. I thought it'd come back, but apparently it hasn't. But the charge, he has been charged now. Yeah. Where is this freaking B sample, bro? Like, I googled it ages ago. Like, you can request the B sample and have it back in 10 days in other sports. So why is it being 10 months for a request? What's happening with this B sample? Like, has it been locked somewhere? Like, is blood or, you know, urine or whatever it's been tested? Like, what's going on here? But if the B sample also contains meldonium, the player could be banned for 4 years. We've spoken about that, of course, at length. It is important to note Mudryk has always maintained his innocence. Former club Shakhtar helped out by letting Mudryk undergo a lie detector test, which he passed. Yeah, I mean, they don't hold up in a court of law, but I think they help, don't they? Lie detector tests, because you can just be a bit nervous when you got all that stuff strapped to you. Chelsea, however, of course, we've got Garnacho, Jamie Gittins. Even if Mudryk is found innocent, he will find it tough to break back into contention under Maresca. Interesting. I think he would play under Maresca because he kind of a little bit is like, dare I say, Garnacho, like a sort of high octane run in behind transitional player. I think he could have, because Maresca was turning to him, and he was scoring goals from the Conference League. I'm sure Maresca likes the idea of having an available Mudryk to help him. But the plot thickens, certainly very interesting. Stem cells from a cow. You heard it here first. Well, you almost certainly haven't heard it here first. But you've heard it here from me, and you've heard my reaction to the cow injection thing. Mad. Ooh. Right. Thanks for locking in, guys. I'm fully back now, so make sure the bell is turned on when you subscribe. We are trying to reach that holy 200,000 subscribers to double that guy. I've been on 100k for, I think, literal years. I've been here for years. Not that you get a plaque for 200. I will never see another YouTube button. I've come to terms with that. I'm not going to get 1 million subscribers, but I'd like 200,000. Yeah? To validate my feelings. All right. Thanks, guys. See you in a bit. Peace.